Hey guys, Skilled Legend here, and I wanted to talk about a little something today, but first I want to apologize because I've been on a kind of a hiatus lately with school and work and just working on other projects. I haven't really been on YouTube all that much lately. Um, so yeah, I wanted to say sorry about that, but actually part of it, other than the school and work, isn't really that I haven't been on YouTube as much. It's also that I've been working on other things with other people, and mostly in those videos I said what I had to say at the time. I did two videos with Templars and a video with Alpha and a part of a video with Entity Maze. So that's why I haven't really posted anything on my channel. Like I said, sorry, but I didn't really want to repeat everything over all the times that I've said it, and so I just kind of let them have their content and did what I needed to do on those. But today I actually wanted to talk about something a little bit different. It's still Pokemon related, but it's kind of my thoughts on Sun and Moon, the game. Um, so something that is kind of interesting that I've noticed is that with Sun and Moon in the game, they've kind of done something that they really haven't really done before, and that's kind of noticeable because of certain things that have come up. So one of the things that I've noticed is that while X and Y and X, Y, and Z, the anime, were very fan servicey, they had all the things that the fans wanted. Well, they've continued those things and they've reintroduced them into Sun and Moon, the game. Um, some of the big things are Mega Evolution, Zygarde returning, Ash Greninja being in the game, Ash himself being mentioned in the game, whether, I mean, if you think about that, just by his mention and him sending you the letter in the demo, he is by default kind of making his cameo or his entry into the game lore. Whether people want to say, are you, yes, that's true, or no, it's not true. But either way, he's now part of the game lore, whether you want to believe it or not, just because the OT says Ash, it is Ash's Greninja, and that they put those details in there, whether he shows up in the game or not. But it's just little things like that. And also the fact that, like, they have, like, the things certain other things from Kalos returning, like the two assistant professors of Sycamores. They have, like little details like that, and even one of the details that came out in the or not the trailer, the demo. Um, One of the parts of the demo mentioned something about to be able to do the trials, you have to be 11 years old. And even though, we might not see that happen in the anime, he may still just be 10 forever. It's something that people complained about and wanted to change, and even in the game they mentioned that just as a little thing to get people to kind of calm down, even if it was already planned or if it was something that they just kind of added last minute to the games before putting the demo out there. But it's just these little things that they keep doing to interest the fans and get people excited about the game that kind of make me think that, there is a very good chance that Serena might be return. Heck, she might even return in the game. And the thing is I've been talking to people and it seems kind of interesting to note that, if Ash is making his first cameo or his first mention in the game, they could very well change everything that has happened lore wise to the games and everything else. I mean, they could have a very anime for like the I don't know how to say this properly, but instead of having like the Serena showed up that's very, you know, the game Serena, like the very competent and the very, you know, battle driven and, Pokemon trainer Serena, but they could have the actual anime Serena show up in the game, which is something that's kind of new, and it seems almost like they kind of soft reset the characters because of that. I'm not saying that it's like, confirmed or, I'm not saying that it's a very high chance that it will happen, but it is something that is to take into consideration since they have added Ash in some way, shape, and form into the game just by mentioning and the fact that Greninja is the Greninja you get is actually Ash's. Um, and why I keep saying that over and over is because one of the things that people thought was that, it was your Greninja, but it was just a Bond Phenomenon Greninja. Instead of putting Bond Phenomena Greninja as its name, they put Ash Greninja because that's how people knew it. But no, this is actually Ash's Greninja going along with you on your Alolan journey. If you haven't played the demo, I'm sorry, I'm kind of spoiling some things, but um, I mean, when you look at the character sheet for Greninja, it says that it was caught on October 17th, 2013, which is the day that, the anime XY debuted and the day that Ash caught Froakie. It also says it was from Kalos, and the original trainer says Ash. So, I mean, these are all things that kind of confirm that Ash is part of the game story, even if it's just that little cameo of his name, or if he actually makes a full-on appearance, like I said earlier. Now, something else that's kind of interesting that I wanted to note is that, so, about a couple days ago, um, there was an article, and it was kind of silly and stupid. There weren't very many good questions, and I wish they would have asked more meaningful questions. But they did ask one question that caught my attention, and this is something that they asked Masuda, and I'll post the link to the article in the um, in the description of this video. But like I said, most of the questions weren't very they were kind of silly and kind of stupid questions, but one that drew my attention, and I'm going to read it word for word for you guys, just so you guys can, come back and look at it and see that I'm not BSing. But anyways, it says, we saw Professor Oak's cousin in a recent trailer. Are we going to see more of Professor Oak's extended family in the game? And Masuda said, the cousin's character, Samson Oak, we actually put that guy in the game to represent the Lola variants. He's kind of an Alolan variant himself, and that's kind of his goal in the Alola region, to research these Pokemon that have adapted to the Alolan environment and change how they appear. There are some other characters that may show up and may be recognized by the fans of previous games, so there's some characters reoccurring, and maybe they show up with a different look than they had before. But in terms of Oak's extended family, I think this is the only guy in Sun and Moon. Now, that line caught me because I'm not specifically speaking about a Serena return. I'm just talking about the fact that he said other characters that may show up and be recognized by fans of previous games. So there are some characters reoccurring. Now, I hope that he's not just talking about Looker, because Looker's been in the last 5 games, I believe, 4 or 5. And I hope that he's not just talking about the 2 lab assistants, because they've already been kind of announced. They were in the official trailer, and they were very recognizable. I hope that when he says characters, he means more characters that we haven't seen yet. And even if it's something just, non-Serena related, has to do with, other characters, that would be amazing too. I mean, obviously I would like to see Serena return in the games, or, other characters that we've seen before return in the games, because, that would make more sense, and that's kind of where I would like to see more of Serena. But, even just having some characters that we recognize that we haven't seen in a while. I mean, because most of the time the games have characters that reoccur, but they don't really do anything that important. For example, like Red was the champion in Silver and Gold, and you had to go fight him again. But other than that, that's all the characters have done if they reoccur in the games. And so it'd be nice to see something different. It'd be nice to see maybe, like Serena have her own side story in Alola, as a game character, or, since the Diamond and Pearl remakes are probably going to come out this year, maybe have Dawn or Lucas do something in Alola that might, connect to the story that would come out later this year if that's what they're planning on doing, or just something like that. It's just nice to have characters that reoccur, and that's something that they really need to do, and that's something that the fans have been begging for years. And if they're going to make a fan service game, they might as well do this, you know, now that they've made pretty much the biggest fan service game, and hopefully it transfers over to the anime. But anyways, I want to know what you guys think. What do you guys think of what Masuda has said? What do you think about them making kind of a fan servicey type game after having the fan service that came out in X, Y, and X, Y, and Z? And do you think that if they do continue these fan service trends in the games, that it'll transfer over to the Sun and Moon anime? And is that what you want? Do you want them to start listening to more of what we want, the fans in the games and in the anime, not just the anime or the games exclusively? Anyways, I always like hearing what you guys have to say, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.